Earth, 3/4 of our magnificent planet's surface, is water. While human civilization has advanced and we've made tremendous strides in conquering space, right here on our home planet, the deep oceans still hold enormous secrets, challenging everything we know. The deep sea is vast, dark, frigid, and in some places almost entirely frozen. It's home to the most colossal creatures on Earth. This video will take you to the ocean's most extreme depths to discover what creatures inhabit a place that Earth's most intelligent beings have yet to conquer. 200 meters below sea level, this is where our journey begins, our oceanic exploration. This zone is known as the epipelagic region, where virtually all marine life exists thanks to the sun's penetrating energy. Here, animals are colorful and abundant. The landscape makes you feel like you're inside a fantasy painting. From 200 to 1,000 meters below the seafloor, we reach the mesopelagic zone, also called the ocean's twilight zone. Here, sunlight is very faint, and photosynthesis becomes impossible. Below 1,000 meters, all sunlight vanishes, and we enter the midnight zone, or bathypelagic realm. The only visible light here is bioluminescence, emitted by squid skin or fish that hunt using glowing lures. The pressure here is immense, and temperatures are astonishingly low. But the ocean goes much deeper still. From 4,000 to 6,000 meters lies the abyssopelagic zone, the deep abyss, with pressure 600 times greater than at Earth's surface. This region is shrouded in eternal darkness, characterized by constant cold and nutrient scarcity. Yet this zone is also Earth's largest ecosystem, covering 300 million square kilometers, roughly 60% of the planet's surface. The ocean's depth doesn't stop there. The hadopelagic zone is the deepest oceanic region, with depths from 6,000 to 11,000 meters, existing in narrow V-shaped trenches. The deepest place discovered by humanity is the Mariana Trench. And defying all our theories and understanding, life still persists in the darkest depths. And the creatures here have evolved to become extraordinarily strange. From species that look freshly emerged from hell, with macabre and terrifying forms, to colossal animals that seem to exist only in legends. The Japanese spider crab, the giant red jellyfish, the oarfish, king of herrings, the giant squid, the Greenland shark, and enormous arthropods. All these animals are examples of the deep sea's bizarre creatures. They all tend to grow significantly larger than their shallow water relatives. In these extremely cold, dark waters, why do these leviathans appear? Is it a strange coincidence of the deep sea or a characteristic of life in this hostile environment? At 400 meters deep, food becomes quite scarce in the ocean. When sunlight fades, photosynthetic algae and plankton disappear too. And without this crucial part of the food chain, life for deep-sea creatures becomes remarkably harder. Instead, they depend on detritus falling from shallower waters, a phenomenon known as marine snow. Marine snow consists mainly of dead plankton, excrement, and fragments of decomposing carcasses drifting to the seafloor like fine particles. Some animals depend directly and entirely on marine snow. For example, the vampire squid has special adaptations that help it capture and better consume the fallen snow particles. Two filaments extend from its body, trapping any organism in the passing current. In its habitat at 900 meters deep, marine snow is the backbone of all life on the deep sea floor, but it cannot sustain much biomass. The number of organisms in the deep sea is very sparse, and the food web is extremely limited. Many animals don't directly consume marine snow, but feed on species that do. Therefore, predation pressure is extremely high. Any small fish, crustacean, or cephalopod is a prime target for larger predators. The giant squid, It's both an icon and a mystery of the deep sea. Entering the 21st century, the giant squid remained one of the few large animal species in existence, shrouded in mystery. At that time, no photograph had ever been captured of the species alive. What we know about the giant squid comes mostly from their carcasses washed up on shores. It wasn't until 2004 that the first photograph of a giant squid alive in its natural environment was captured in the twilight zone at approximately 1,000 meters deep. While it's possible, we don't know much about these mysterious creatures. We do know they're enormous. The largest specimen found measured 13 meters long, the size of a school bus, and weighed approximately 275 kilograms. Compared to most squid, which measure no more than 60 centimeters, these giants are truly exceptional. Scientists believe that with such a colossal size, they have very few enemies. This allows them to hunt freely on the deep sea floor and capture their prey with their extremely long tentacles. Despite their impressive size, the giant squid still isn't the largest squid among deep water squid species. The colossal squid is the world's largest invertebrate. They're shorter than the giant squid, measuring only about 10 meters, but can weigh 500 to 700 kilograms and inhabit depths over 2,000 meters. It's easy to imagine that such an enormous creature could be an extremely ferocious predator, launching through icy water to seize its prey, generating immense terror. It also inspired fear among sailors of centuries past through legends of giant squid tearing ships apart. Possessing a colossal size, their metabolism is extremely slow. The giant squid takes something called Kleiber's rule to a new level. Kleiber's rule explains that the larger an animal, each gram of its body consumes energy more slowly. For example, a 10-kilogram dog needs to consume around 500 calories daily, while a 1,000-kilogram elephant, 100 times heavier, only needs 10,000 calories, just 20 times more. Food in the ocean is very scarce, so these organisms mainly depend on food falling from upper water layers. They must increase their body size to conserve energy consumption, and giant squid seem to apply this extremely efficiently. One study estimates the giant squid's metabolic rate is so low, they burn only 45 calories daily and need just 0.03 kilograms of food per day. An adult fang-toothed fish weighing around 5 kilograms could provide enough food for a 500-kilogram giant squid for roughly 200 days. Their energy requirements are 300 to 600 times lower than other apex predators of similar size in the Southern Ocean. This demonstrates the giant squid has an especially slow life pace. It doesn't chase prey in spectacular battles, as we imagine. Instead, it waits for prey to accidentally approach and then uses the hooks on its tentacles to capture it. This ambush lifestyle is also a brilliant strategy, because in such deep waters, visual hunting is nearly impossible due to extremely limited visibility. The giant squid has the largest eyes of any animal in the world, with a diameter up to 30 centimeters. But scientists believe those eyes aren't for hunting prey, but for detecting and avoiding predators. Not many creatures can hunt such a large squid, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. Notable among these predators is the sperm whale. Food scarcity and evading predators are some of the main pressures causing deep-sea animals to develop very large sizes and have such slow metabolisms. But those aren't the only challenges. The deep, cold waters themselves have also created these colossal creatures. Bergmann's rule states that animals found in cold environments will be larger than those appearing in warm environments. However, this rule historically has only been found completely accurate for endothermic species, warm-blooded animals like birds and mammals. Does this trend also apply to ectothermic organisms like squid, crabs, and arthropods living at different depths on the seafloor? It's a scientific field that still generates controversy, but clearly some ectothermic species are indeed larger in environments with colder temperatures. This can certainly be observed in Earth's polar regions, where sea sponges, worms, and even single-celled organisms become gigantic. One fairly convincing hypothesis for this phenomenon is that colder water contains more oxygen, allowing organisms with larger body sizes to appear underwater. And in a remote place in the cold northern seas, one of the strangest giant creatures dwells. It reigns there. The Greenland shark is the Arctic Ocean's largest fish. They're one of the largest sharks, reaching 7 meters in length and weighing up to 1,400 kilograms. This creature lives at depths around 2,000 meters, where water temperatures range from 2 to 7 degrees Celsius. It's the only shark that can endure year-round Arctic cold waters. The hostile, frozen environment has made the shark not only enormous, but also incredibly long-lived. The Greenland shark is the world's longest living vertebrate. They're so ancient that some individuals were swimming in the sea before Christopher Columbus reached America, and they're still alive today. Scientists estimate their average lifespan is at least 272 years, with some exceptional individuals living over 500 years. Inside the shark's eye are proteins, formed before birth, then covered by multiple layers of the eye lens. These proteins don't degrade with age. Therefore, through carbon dating, scientists can roughly determine the shark's age. Their astonishing longevity may be due to an extremely low metabolism, similar to the giant squid. And like the giant squid, they're opportunistic and extremely slow creatures. The Greenland shark eats some fish, squid, and carrion, any carcass they find. When dissecting this fish's stomach, researchers have even found polar bear meat, reindeer, and horse. Like giant squid, they struggle greatly to detect and chase prey in ink-black waters. Even in less dark waters, the sharks still can't see anything, because a special crustacean has attached to their eyeballs, leaving them completely blind. Drifting at 2 degrees Celsius, with an ink-black life for over 500 years, along with a crustacean attached to the eyeball. It's truly a terrifying scenario for us humans. The animals we've discussed are certainly strange creatures, astonishing and even spine-chilling. But this journey has barely reached the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. Continuing our descent, the ocean grows deeper and holds within it the largest deep-sea creatures ever discovered by humankind. In the trenches at depths from 6,000 to 11,000 meters, temperatures range from 1 to 4 degrees Celsius. Here there's certainly no light. Pressure can reach up to 100 times that of the surface. Here, the marine snow that brings life to upper zones can barely reach this place. 90% of marine snow never crosses the twilight zone. At this depth, it seems impossible for life to appear. But surprisingly, the deeper you go, you find giant amphipods crawling along the seafloor. Shallow water amphipods typically have a very modest length of just 5 to 10 millimeters, but deep water amphipods can measure up to 34 centimeters. A creature normally the size of a mosquito, but at this depth possesses the size of a guinea pig. Amphipods are known as the largest soft-shelled crustaceans ever discovered. Similar to amphipods, seafloor isopod arthropods also have a giant size, up to 50 centimeters. Their relatives you see in your garden measure only 6 millimeters. Amphipods and isopods are scavenging animals. They eat anything decomposing on the seafloor. They can find a large body size. Can help these animals store as much food and energy as possible in an environment where they don't know when they'll find their next meal. In other words, when these giant animals encounter a food source, they'll devour as much as possible and store it in their bodies. This way, they can survive prolonged periods of starvation. Some isopods are known to survive more than 5 years without food in captive conditions. A large body size also allows them to travel longer distances, searching for their next meal. Another reason, their body size becomes gigantic, maybe related to water density and viscosity. At such depth and cold temperature, here, water feels denser than at the surface. A larger body size can give these deep-sea invertebrate animals a respiratory advantage, helping them overcome the water's greater viscosity. Even with all these factors, it's still difficult to understand how there's enough food at such depths to sustain these giant animals. But recently, scientists discovered that some organisms may be eating a completely unexpected food source. A hodl zone inhabitant, Hirondelia gigas, was discovered with a unique type of cellulase enzyme. An enzyme apparently used to break down plant material. This is completely surprising because it seems no plants can live at hodl zone depths. And crustaceans wouldn't need this type of enzyme to digest algae from marine snow. However, when scientists tested this enzyme type, they discovered it directly converts sawdust and wood dust into glucose. And most significantly, its enzyme activity increases under high hydrostatic pressure. The higher the pressure, the faster and more efficiently the enzyme digests cellulose. There may be no plants living in the hodl zone, but sometimes large pieces of wood from the surface sink to the bottom of the sea's deepest parts. And being able to directly convert this wood into energy increases survival chances. For animals who don't have many options, though we don't know much about the deep sea, we do know it's a very fragile ecosystem. Many of these animals struggle greatly to survive, and any change in their environment could spell the end for these giant creatures. Overfishing, plastic pollution, changes in ocean chemistry due to climate change, all are threats to this remarkable ecosystem. These extraordinary creatures seem to live on an alien planet, yet they still have many connections and depend heavily on us. And scientists believe we too, to some extent, depend on their world. We're only beginning to understand the intrinsic connection between ocean, ecosystems, and their relationship with the terrestrial environment where we live. Humans, as a higher-order species, focus on searching for extraterrestrial life, forgetting the extraordinary creatures living right under our noses, or more precisely, beneath many miles of deep ocean.